Hey everybody, you got the Hobby Drifter here again. It is Wednesday, July 28th, 2021, here in sunny, hot, and oppressively humid Tokyo, Japan, here with another Japan retrospective video. Now last time, I talked about work, some of the different jobs that are available, some of the different jobs that I have done, and I want to talk about one aspect of these jobs that's interesting. It's called the nomikai, which is the drinking meeting. Usually these are semi-formal, but mostly informal, like work parties that are attended by basically anyone from work. I mean, some of these, the president will be there. Some of them, it's just the teachers. Some of them, teachers and managers. But usually at like the end of a semester, or the end of a year, or the beginning of the year, or New Year's, whatever, we have these parties. And the format is basically the nomikai takes place at like a restaurant or something like that, and there's food, there's drinks, and then once that finishes, they have further parties. They call them like nijikai, sanjikai, which is the second party, third party, second meeting, third meeting, and these go forever. With members saying goodbye at the end of each of them, until at the end of them there's only a few left. So, as you might have noticed with some of my previous videos, I have gotten stupid lucky on more than one occasion, on many occasions, when things could have basically ended for me. My luck broke the right way. So this is actually a combination of a couple of stories that saw me getting very, very lucky, but also they're great for trying to explain these nomikai things. So, at the end of my first full year, we had an end of year nomikai, and we went through the first one, second one, and I think this was at the third one. There was me, there was one of these like mid-level managers, and a few of the teachers were at like a snack bar at like 1 o'clock in the morning in Kokura. And the next morning, I heard that the manager went into the office to speak to the president and vice president and basically tell them in no uncertain terms, they should fire me. That they should get rid of that guy. Just totally get rid of him. And the reason that he went in and told them that was due to what happened at this sanjikai, where this gentleman, and I use the term loosely, married guy, kids, basically pinned a young lady up against the wall. They call it like kabedon, which is like literally like wall hit. Like pinned her like both hands against the wall. And it's just like, hey, why don't you come with me? We'll get a room, blah, 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 blah. And she's just, like, she was not having it, but she was just terrified. So I kind of went over and put my hand around his shoulders and went like, hey, man, you've had enough to drink. It's getting late. We're going to get home. And I threw him in a taxi and sent him home. So, yeah, he was maybe a little bit embarrassed that one of the new guys had, stopped him from harassing a young lady and didn't want that getting around. Spoiler alert, it got around. And went in to tell my bosses to fire Kevin Sensei. We gotta get rid of him. And in order to tell you the rest of this story, I gotta go back to almost a year earlier, where there was a different nomikai because the teachers had been asked to attend a party with some government folks in Kitakyushu. And just, again, through stupid luck, there was like the president and vice president, the head teachers, and then a few of the regular teachers. And we were there basically to pour drinks. That was the point of this, was like, there were important, VIPs there, and we were there to be like, oh, hey, you want to speak some English? And, hey, look how international this city is. And I was there with a teacher who didn't drink. He totally non-alcohol guy. Younger dude. He was a little bit older than me, but so I mean he would have been like 25 maybe. Very solid dude. But there's kind of this. It's polite if someone offers you a drink to not refuse. If someone pours you a drink, you should drink it. You shouldn't. If you don't drink, don't drink. That's your personal choice. But again, this is 15 years ago. So we're at this party, and he's actually done a very good job of politely declining alcohol. Some of the guests were actually like, "Wow, guy doesn't drink. That's interesting. Cool. Got to the end of the night with all of these VIP people, and I was having a not a great time. I appreciated how cool it was that I was there, but this was not my scene whatsoever. So we're getting ready to leave, and we go over to talk to the head teacher, and we're like, "Yeah, we're gonna head out. You guys, thanks for having us." And then the company president kind of comes over and he's like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna go over to our private club after this for a second party. Head teacher, you want to come?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." Maybe he's like, "Well, hey, bring the two new guys with too. They'll have a good time together." And at the time, that wasn't really something you could decline without ruffling some feathers. So we're like, "Oh, okay." So we go from this it's like hotel banquet room to a what do they call them? It's not quite a snack bar, but it's like a high end snack bar where the cover charge was more than I would ever consider paying, and even then you'd need like a, what do they call it? I'm trying to remember what the type of, it's like, but like a members only snack bar. So I'm there, and I'm there with the guy who doesn't drink, and I am trying to take it very, very easy on the booze, because if there's one place that I did not want to get drunk, this was it. So we sit down, and there's the head teacher, there's the no drinking guy, there's me, and then there's the mayor of the city was there, and some guy who owns several of the large franchise restaurants in the country. I thought at first that he said that he was the owner of a restaurant, and then he's like, no, I'm the owner of the company that owns these restaurants. One guy was very, very happy that he had just purchased his first big airplane. And another dude who looked like he was about 80 years old shows me a picture of a baby. And he's like, "This is my son." I'm like, "Oh, nice." He's like, "I got him when I was 65 years old." And to my credit, I did not ask him where he got him from. So I'm just kind of going like, "Oh my God, get me out of here. This is not my scene at all." And the company president goes, we're going to get a decanter of brandy from the show-up era. Is that okay with everybody? And we're like, yeah, okay, sure. So it brings out, this beautiful decanter of brandy, pours with the, everyone's got a glass with the perfect, hand-carved spherical ice cube. And so they pour everyone. And no drinking guy's just like, "Oh, crap, this glass of booze, it probably costs more than I make in a couple of days." So it would be extremely impolite for me to decline it. And again, it wouldn't be. It's totally fine. If you don't drink, don't drink. I guarantee the consequences would not have been as bad as they were. So he, again, no drinking, not quit drinking, not drinks a little, no drinking, just decides, well, I'll just knock this back, and then I'll be totally fine I can just sit out the rest of the night, be like, oh no, I'm good. But thing is, at these kind of places, once you finish your drink, they refill it. So what I did was I took a sip and then just kind of let it sit there for most of the night. He threw it back, and they refilled him, and I could see the light in his eyes just dim. Like he was still going, like he was still moving, he was still drinking, but there was nobody at home. There was nobody driving. So I'm listening to these people, the mayor and the owner of all of these people, tell their stories, and I was like, wow, this is really, I am super uncomfortable here, but this is really cool. This is never going to happen again. It did happen again. But I'm thinking like, wow, I'm a 23, 24-year-old kid, I'm just sitting here listening to like all this cool stuff. Wow, wow, wow. And then the guy who, no drinky, but drinky guy, just slams his hands down on the table, bolts straight up, and just yells, "Fuck you, Kevin. Do I have to show you my nuts right here, right now?" Everyone goes silent and kind of looked at him and went, "I can wait." And the head teacher kind of swoops in, puts his arm around his shoulder, kind of takes him. He's like, "Let's get you some air, man." So he goes outside, and I'm looking at the president of the company, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm really sorry about him. He's he doesn't drink. This is like his first time drinking. He's obviously had too much, but I'm really sorry that this is happening." You're like, "Oh no, that's okay. Everyone has a little bit too much to drink." I'm like, "Okay, cool." 3 minutes later, he comes back in the door with the head teacher like flailing behind him, waving. I was like, "Stop him! Stop him!" Turns out that while they were outside, the guy was like just totally belligerent. He like stumbled and knocked over an old guy who was like collecting cans for recycling, then stumbled forward and knocked over several black motorcycles that were parked outside before announcing that he was going to go in and give that bitch president a piece of his mind. So I again apologized to the president and vice president. I was like, "Thank you very much. It's been a lovely evening. I really appreciate being invited to this. It was very kind of you. Thank you so much." My friend has obviously had just way too much to drink. He doesn't drink. This is his first time. So I'm gonna take him home. Thank you very much. And they're like, "Oh, well, thank you very much. We really appreciate that." And they're like, "Oh, here, take this this manager. She'll help you get him home." So me and the manager, kind of corralled him, took him to the public bathroom, let him yak his guts out for a while, got him some water, put him on the train, and took him back to his home. Like made sure he got home safe. And then the next morning, I'm sitting there, I'm in my apartment just like freaking out, like, oh my god, I am in so much trouble. This is bad. This is terrible. And I get a phone call from the guy, from no drinky guy, and he's like, "Hey, Kevin, man, what happened last night?" And I was like, "Oh man, you had too much to drink, and you got a little bit crazy. So me and the manager, we took you home." And he's like, "Oh, thanks, man. Thanks so much for that. I really appreciate it. One other question. Why do I have like 8 emails telling me to like send flowers to the office?" Like, you might want to consider doing that. It was fine. He went in and he talked to him, and they were like, "Yeah, we really don't appreciate that you got crazy drunk in front of our, business partners and friends, but, it happens. Don't let it happen again. but it's fine. Very nice. So when the manager, fast forward to a year later, when the manager told the president and vice president that Kevin was totally out of control, the president of the company was like, Kevin, I know him. Who is that? And the vice president was like, oh, Kevin! Yeah, remember when that guy got like totally drunk at that party and like he took him home before he made an ass of himself? He's like, oh, yeah. Like, he was drunk and out of control? He left a free drinking party with like the mayor and like celebrities to keep his friends safe. I think you're full of shit. So, yeah, I got no consequences out of that, and that guy actually wound up getting fired shortly after for combination of drunk driving and road rage. Yeah, so those are your Nomikais. There is an acceptable level for which that you can get completely wasted, but there is a line. There is a line. There was your bonus one. I was at a school Nomikai, not the company, but with the teachers from this public school, and it was the end of the year. And at the end of the year in public schools, some of the I think it's at the end of like 5 or 6 years, the teachers shuffle and they go to different schools. So you don't stay at one school for like your whole career. You stay there for, I think it's 6 years. So you get like two generations of kids, and then you switch. But I'm at this drinking party, and this is just the first party, right? It's at a karaoke snack bar, and the principal loves karaoke. Like that's her thing. That's her outlet. That's how she enjoys herself. She loves karaoke, and she's very, very good at it. So we're at this thing. It's the vice principal, the principal, most of the teachers, me, and we're having a good time. And the PE teacher is knocking back like whiskey. Whiskey on the rocks, just knocking them back, because it's no Hodai. It's you pay one price and then you can drink as much as you want for like 2 hours. And he wanted to drink a lot, so he's throwing him back, right? And he's just like whoa, and finally he's like, I'm gonna sing a song, and he puts in a song, and he's the PE teacher, so he's this big dude built like a fire hydrant, and he's like, I'm gonna sing a song, and he puts in his song, and he goes up to the podium, and it's got the microphone, and he just starts singing, and he's just like, this song is for you, principal. Like, you've been busting my balls since I came to this school, and I just want to tell you that I hate you, and I curse you. Every day I curse you. And then he starts singing, and as he's singing, he like just rips off his shirt and drops his pants before finally the vice principal was like, "Yeah, we're gonna sit down now." And I'm catching some of what he's saying, because obviously he's speaking Japanese, and I'm catching like words here and there. It was explained to me later exactly what was said, and so I'm talking to the teacher who's trying to explain what the hell happened. And I'm like, okay, I get all of that, but why did he take off his pants? And she goes, well, he's the PE teacher, so I think he wanted to show his muscles. And I was like, oh, okay. And also his butt. Which just killed me. Also his butt. So yeah, he was scheduled to leave the school to be transferred to a new school about 2 weeks after this party. He took paid holiday and did not come back for those 2 weeks. He came for graduation. It was just like, hey, everybody, I'm very proud of you, blah, 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 and then, pew, out. So, it is acceptable to get very much crazy at these parties. In fact, that's the point of them, that you get nuts, and everyone, it brings people together. They say, "Oh man, we were all crazy last night." But generally, what happens at those parties stays at those parties, and there is a limit. There is an upwards limit to how bad you can get, and stripping while telling your boss that you hate her and curse her, that's about the upwards limit. Cursing out your boss in possibly in ways that are possibly legally actionable. That's pretty much the thing. Most nomiikais are a lot of fun. If you are a drinking person, then these are great. They do have the potential for embarrassment, but again, it's all sanctioned embarrassment. Like it's within the parameters of acceptability. You're in a good one when someone's got their necktie wrapped around their head like a bandana. That's when you know that you've reached like the peak nomikai. Like after that, you should probably just go home. I'm just to bring it all around again. The first party usually at a hotel room, a hotel like banquet room, or an izakaya or like a snack bar. Second party is usually like a karaoke place. Beyond that, they just more and more people drop off, and it's kind of fun. Like when you see the people who have gone to like the fifth party, where it's like just the vice principal and like the PE teacher, and it's a place of questionable repute. And they show up to work, the next day in the same clothes they had. Oh yeah, show up to work the next day. Some of these things are done on like Wednesdays, so. You're thinking, oh, you do it Friday night, Saturday, sleep it off. No, some of these are like, you got work in the morning. So, that's it. That's, if you come over here, you get a job, you get invited to one of these things, that's what you've got to look forward to. If you do, maybe don't share embarrassing pictures of them on social media later. Keep it safe, keep it private. If there is a problem, don't take it. Don't feel like you have to drink or anything like that. That's totally fine. There are people at these parties that just abstain. Certainly the guy probably could have done that if he'd wanted to. But that is going to be it for today, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a nice week. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, or you can at me or DM me on Twitter at HobbyDrifter. Thanks again, and happy hobbying.